Welcome to the third video in this series on chemistry. If you had seen the first two videos, you must have learned that matter consists of atoms and molecules. And atoms and molecules, especially atoms, they consist of nuclei and electrons, and the nucleus has protons and neutrons. Now these form the smallest particle of any matter. So if you took something like, let's say, a piece of copper and broke it down to smaller and smaller pieces, the property will continue to remain the same until you reach the atomic size. That means once you come to the atomic size, the copper's property will still be the same. But if you try to break it down further, then it will no longer be copper. So atom is the smallest particle of matter that can exist with the same properties. And molecules consist of more than one atom. So that is the subject we'll explore today. We had also learned that matter shows various physical properties, and one of the properties we studied was its state of matter, and that state relates to whether it is solid, liquid or gas. We also learned how these states are affected by their atomic structure. For example, why is oxygen in gas form, whereas something like iron or carbon remains in solid state at room temperature. So these are affected by the properties of the atom. Today we will learn what chemical properties do atoms and molecules create. For example, hydrogen is an element. Hydrogen and oxygen combine to form water, and water is a compound. So there is a difference between elements and compounds in the sense that elements added together chemically form compounds, and compounds can be broken down to their constituent elements by chemical processes, whereas elements cannot be broken down any further. So an element is a pure substance which cannot be broken down by chemical means, like we talked about water, oxygen and hydrogen. So if you take oxygen and hydrogen, they will spontaneously react and form water. But through electrolysis, we can break down water into hydrogen and oxygen. So that is how chemical reactions happen. Now, each atom of an element is defined by the number of protons it has in the nuclei. So an element has a unique number of protons. For example, hydrogen has one proton in its nucleus. Oxygen has 8 protons. So hydrogen, irrespective of source, for example, whether you produced it from water or you produced from some other means like breaking down some organic compound which has hydrogen, or you got hydrogen from the sun or from any other planet, they will all have one proton in their nucleus. So that is a unique characteristic of any element. So we just discussed about how an element has the same property irrespective of where it is found. Now these properties are such that some of the elements have similar properties. For example, if you talk about noble gases, so noble gases are gases like helium, neon, argon. So they have this property that they are very unreactive, and they mostly are gases. So these gases have similar property, and they can be arranged in the 18th column. And similarly other elements, as we will see later in the periodic table. So an element is defined by its position in the periodic table. Here is an example of a periodic table. You can see here that there are 18 columns: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. And the last column you see helium, neon, argon, these are all noble gases. In the first column, you have hydrogen, lithium, sodium, etc. We'll see what unique properties they have, but they are arranged in a certain, they are all arranged with a certain logic. So if you see here, what you have here is hydrogen. Okay. So hydrogen, and we also know about oxygen. So this is oxygen. So hydrogen and oxygen combine to form water, and you can see that they are from two extremes. So this is on the first column and this is on the 16th column. The other elements which you might be familiar and which are also important, one is nitrogen. So knew about nitrogen. Nitrogen and oxygen form our atmosphere. You also know about carbon. So carbon is used in the fuel. So all the organic matter has carbon in them. You are also familiar with iron, which is used a lot in structural constructions. You know about sodium, and along with chlorine, it forms sodium chloride, which is the common salt. You also know about potassium and calcium. Sodium, potassium and calcium are very important in the functioning of living beings. So when you study this periodic table, you will understand how each element falls into each column and how that affects its properties, and why certain properties, chemical as well as physical properties, come out of that. It also helps us to understand the behavior of so many elements. You see, you have we have here 118 elements. Okay, so this is 118th element here. So we cannot remember properties of 118 elements. You know, if you made a table and wrote down properties of each of them, it will be very difficult to concisely use them. But by defining them in a tabular form, we can say that, let's say if you take this here, so they are all noble gases and they will have the same property. So it's very easy to remember and use their properties. By saying that an element is defined by its atomic number, that is the number of protons it has and the atomic mass it has. Now, what do you mean by atomic number and atomic mass? So when you refer to any element, we can describe this by writing the name of the element, its atomic number, and it has an atomic mass. Now atomic number, so we'll call this atomic number. So this basically is the number of protons, and this is our atomic mass. Now that is protons plus neutrons. So here you have an example. If you take hydrogen, hydrogen has 1, atomic mass is 1, atomic number is 1, and atomic mass is also 1. So that means it has no neutrons. Okay, no neutrons. Now deuterium is written as H2. So that means it has 1 neutron and 1 proton. So its atomic mass is 2. But its number of proton is same. So it is still a hydrogen element, but a different form of it, which we will talk about just now. It also has tritium, which has got atomic mass of 3. So it still has 1 proton, but it has 2 neutrons. So its atomic mass is 3, while its atomic number is still 1. So these 3 elements are actually called isotopes of each other. So this is hydrogen, and deuterium and tritium are isotopes of hydrogen. So isotopes have same atomic number but different atomic mass, and that is because of number of neutrons may vary. So that means the number of protons, that is a unique characteristic of an element, and that itself defines what that element is. Now let's see what are the various types of elements we come across in nature. In the periodic table, we have already talked about the noble gases, and you can see here marked in red the 18th column, that is all noble gases. These gases have similar properties, they are unreactive, they are very stable, and they are all gases. Next, column 17, you see the elements fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. So these elements are very reactive. So chlorine, as you know, chlorine gas, it's yellow in color and it can corrode things. That's because it's very reactive. So all these elements on the 17th column are extremely reactive, and they are called halogens. The first column here below hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, they are called alkaline metals, and they have the property of reacting to form salts. Now what is the difference between an atom and molecule? So this picture you see there, animated picture, that's the simulation of a hydrogen molecule. So you know that hydrogen molecule consists of two hydrogen atoms. Now these two hydrogen atoms are combined by a bond, chemical bond called covalent bond, and this bond is formed by sharing of electrons. But as you can see here, it is not a rigid structure which is stable, rather it is vibrating because of the energy it has due to the heat energy. So if you keep heating it, they will keep vibrating and going further and further away during their oscillations, and at very high temperatures, in fact, they can break into their individual elements, and they can form plasmas, they can form atomic units. So a molecule is an electrical neutral group of two or more atoms held together by chemical bonds. So hydrogen gas is a molecule, H2, two hydrogens combined to form hydrogen molecule, but it is still an element. Now a compound is a molecule with more than one element. For example, in case of water, you have hydrogen and oxygen, and that is why it is a compound. So various structures of molecules exist. So you see there oxygen molecule. So this is two atoms of oxygen combined. So this sphere here shows how the electron cloud is surrounding the nuclei. So the nuclei, as you know, are very small, and they are somewhere in the center, and this is the electron. This is water molecule. So you have oxygen and you have two hydrogens. This is the salt molecule, sodium chloride. So you have the sodium at the center here, very small, and chloride, chlorine, which is very big. Then there are more complex molecules like sugar molecule, the glucose. So you can see here it has got this complex network kind of structure. Now these molecules form through various types of bonds. So first type of bond is the ionic bond, which is sodium chloride. Now in this case, what happens is that the sodium donates one electron to chlorine. So sodium acquires a positive charge and chlorine acquires a negative charge, and they are bound together due to the attraction between the positive and negative charge. So that is why sodium chloride is very often written as sodium with a plus sign and chlorine with a negative sign. So sodium has given one electron to chlorine. So the sodium has more number of protons than electrons, so by one. So that's why the charge is positive. Chlorine has one extra electron which is taken from here, so that's why it is at a negative charge. So these are called ionic bonds, and many of these are also called salts, and they can easily dissolve in water. On the other hand, covalent bonds are formed between two elements where they share their electrons. So the diatomic molecules like oxygen, hydrogen, all of them have covalent bonds. They share the electrons equally. So their structure, you saw one of the structures here. So oxygen, and it would have one bond between them. Similarly, hydrogen and hydrogen, there will be a bond. And you saw the picture of this hydrogen molecule, how it was dancing with each other. So that was, although the structure is written in a very stable form like this, in reality the molecules are constantly moving. And metallic bonds are mostly for solid metals, and these bonds are very strong, but they can be easily melted, and they have the property of free electrons, because of which they are very conducting. So these are basically the things that you need to know about the chemical properties of atoms and how they react with others, and understanding these can help us form new molecules, help us understand why some molecules are stable and others deteriorate faster, why some elements react very easily, some molecules react very easily with other molecules, and some are very stable. In the next video, we'll be looking at these reactions in a little more detail, where we'll try to understand how fast the reaction can go.